Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the perfect 2016 World Team Table Tennis Championships in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm Adam Bobrow, with me, Don Parker. How you feeling, Don?
Feeling good. I thought there that Lee Sang-soo, after the first game, could be a little bit of a shock, but really impressed with Xu Xin in the next 3 games. And obviously now we bring to the table the world #1, so it's looking tough for Korea Republic, but who knows?
Yeah, Youngsik's been playing quite well over the last, say, year and a half. 2015 was definitely his breakthrough year, climbed up to world rank number 13. It's been a while since someone stepped in front of Ju Se-hyuk. He actually beat Ju Se-hyuk himself in the Korea Open for a title. He had a few titles on the World Tour last year, but Ma Long had every title he tried for except the Japan Open, where he got beaten by Sean Quinn, the only player to beat Ma Long in a World Tour last year, despite an 11-9 in the 7th victory over Fan Zhendong. And despite Fan Zhendong having 3-0 against Ma Long in Chinese Super League, on the World Tour stage, Fan Zhendong just hasn't had it yet. He hasn't beaten Ma Long in his history. But yeah, I do think that if Lee Sang-soo was able to put a match on the board, looking at the 3rd spot, Jang Woo-jin, the 20-year-old player from Korea, junior world champion from 2013, has a winning record over Jang Ji-ko. There's some real hope for Korea if that match is taken. Right now, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's always going to be tough, but we'll see what happens here. Jung Youngsik starting off with the serve.
Good start by Jung.
A little bit odd, I think, long to the forehand, but not, you know, an attempted ace or anything. Just a kicking serve, a little wide. We don't see Ma Long miss too many of those.
Touch the net and the edge.
And I think the reaction time of Jung Youngsik to get back the opening attack from Ma Long was really impressive there. Yeah, that was a very faint break for Ma Long. I didn't even realize until I saw, even though you had said it, until I saw Ma Long apologize. I was like, oh, wow.
Great flick from Ma Long. Comes in with the racket slightly open, so you're not sure whether he's going to push it or flick it, and then he has this ability to look as though he's going to push the return, and then he ends up flicking it like a rocket. Very deceptive, very powerful.
I think in general, any element of surprise or deception that you can have, ideally every single shot you hit would be questionable about where it's going to go or what you're going to do until the last moment to give you the advantage.
That time he came in with the open racket, kept it open, short push. Slightly fortunate, caught the top of the net, trickled over.
It's a weird thing to keep score on. I know some players get up in their heads about it, but how many nets or edges your opponents had? So far, 2/3 of Ma Long's points have had some fortune to help out. That's some initiative right there. That was a fast-paced counter with the backhand deep on the table. Not enough to simply block it back. Ma Long can just take batting practice on you all day if you do that.
I'm impressed with Jung's start here. You can see there, clenching his fist, totally motivated. I was unimpressed with his performance yesterday against Portugal in the quarter-final. He lost to Apollonia, playing in the #3 position. Korea Republic won 3-1, but he lost it very easy. But that is, I didn't see that yesterday. That is excellent play. Down the line, on the diagonal. He's totally pumped up. He's playing the #1 in the world. Just look at that, exploiting the angles. Ma Long even gave up there. Didn't even make an attempt to get across to that one.
Yeah, and as fast and strong as Ma Long is, he just had no chance at that last ball. It's really going to take a lot of work early on in the point to set it up. That last point we saw Jung Youngsik win, he had to stay right on top of the bounce and on top of the table. If he softens up for a moment, suddenly Ma Long's back and looping. One of the most magical things about Ma Long is it seems like anything he can reach, he can aggressively loop from either side.
The other thing I think about Ma Long, totally agree, but he also has this ability to play with power when he's leaning and stretching. He seems to have the techniques to, whether he's stretching or playing in a cramped position, he leans, improvises, and you're getting a rocket coming at you all the time.
We had a chop there from the forehand side, another defensive shot reminiscent of the Shushin style. I think Malone gets criticized sometimes for being just so aggressive and not showing as much creativity, but he definitely has it, usually more so used when he's in a comfortable lead. Right now, he's not even in the lead. Youngsik with his second serve, a chance to take a 2-point advantage here. Little break again off the top of the net for Malone. Now, how many players can say, I've been dead even with Malone after he had 3 net balls, edge balls in the middle of a rally? But either way, whoever gets to 11 by 2 lead first, that's that. At the end, you're not counting nets or edges. I think that's a deceptive amount of spin. It looked like a little bit of side spin on it too as he brushed across the ball on the inside.
It's how quickly he spotted the long, fast serve. Steps around, plays a strong forehand topspin from the middle of the table. Read the service very well.
I do think what you mentioned is going to be a very important ingredient. At the top level, the quicker you can recognize what's coming at you, the quicker you can plan and set up your shot. It's just going to get a lot more quality balls out there for Youngsik. By on the short side of the table. You didn't like it, Don?
No, that's just bread and butter, isn't it, for Malone? That one there, he steps round, you've no idea where it's going. It's going either down the line, on the diagonal, you don't know till the last minute, and he hits it so hard. But he was a bit unlucky.
Yeah, the first angle that they showed in the replay, you could see how low the ball was to the net when he took it and still hit it like it was just an easy shot.
He had a chance and he went for it. If I'm the coach, I'm nodding my head in approval because tactically, that's exactly what Jung needs to do. As you can see there, misses by 4 or 5 inches, a fair miss, but nevertheless, it was tactically, it was the right thing to do.
So 1 out of the last 5 points have gone to Youngsik. It was up 5-4. Malone's really stepped into the lead here. And in the end, it's really end game. I mean, no one has a strong end game and loses the game. If your end game is stronger, that means you're crossing the finish line first. We've seen a lot of players get leads against the top Chinese players. But Malone comes back and just doesn't allow you to get a point on the board with games.
Well done, Jung. Again, that's the long service. Spots it, steps around, plays the strong topspin. Here we go. There's the long serve. Round he goes. Perhaps by Mars standard, that wasn't a particularly good serve. The long serve needs to be quicker. It needs to be deeper. But full marks to the Korean player.
That one just drifted too long. Gave Malone too much of an easy look at an attack. It's going to be half long. Even if it comes off the table, it's okay as long as it's really close to the back edge, jamming up the receiver. Just trying to think about players in 2015 who actually gave a real challenge to Malone. And other than Yuya Oshino, we've got Antoine Hachard from France, but still wasn't able to do it. Right here, Malone takes the first game, game 2 after this. As we come back for game 2, Ma Long, the Dragon, the Dictator, world rank #1, male athlete of the year at the Star Awards for ITTF. Just took pretty much every title that he played in, several Super Series, China Open, German Open, Kuwait Open, leading 1-0 over Youngsik.
What does he do? Backhand to backhand. Ma Long's just so solid, isn't he? Going back to your question before, Ma Long versus Voldner at the best. Just think different eras, different styles of players slightly. But Ma Long, he's just so solid everywhere. Quick on his feet there, we saw him stepping around, playing a strong forehand topspin. To a certain extent, I'm glad I'm not coaching against Ma Long. How would you tell a player to play against him? It's just throwing caution to the wind and taking chances, really.
Yeah, and I think specific chances. I mean, backhand to backhand, simply, yes, Ma Long wins. Anything in that head-to-head, Ma Long wins. But I think if you get really specific on the placement, you know, attempted deep pushes, mixing it up, the deception factor, just not allowing Ma Long much clue to really make his move. He's just so fast and his reaction time is so good. He's such a complete player. What can't he do? There's one more example from off the table of backhand to winning.
Liang's only played him in 3 of the matches so far. He's only played half the games, I guess. In terms of the semi-final, final, I think Liang thought Ma Long's he's in the lineup. It's who's going to join him. So held him back a little bit in the previous games. I think China played 6. He's played in half of them. I think there's no doubt, should China get through, it's looking more likely all the time. He'll be in the lineup.
Yeah, and you asked, what do you do if you're coaching against Ma Long? I think one thing, if Youngsik can get the opening attack, but not use a full stroke, just sort of get ready for the next ball and counter Ma Long's follow-up counter attack, it might be a better investment. Having a relatively short stroke right at the back of the table, but because he was so close to the table, it was a bit unpredictable. Ma Long couldn't see where it was coming.
Again, just a few half-long serves coming in from Ma Long. Jung there spotted it. Played that forehand topspin, as you say, Adam, from close to the table. Played it well.
Right idea, he's got to go for it. I mean, it's really easy to second guess somebody and see that it didn't work and say, oh, should have done something else. But no, he earned a decent shot right there. The angle was good. If he makes that shot, I think it's going to be real trouble for Ma Long.
Spins the ball backhand, spins the ball forehand. I think going back to that point about, even though Jung lost the point, he did the right thing. I think that's one of the skills of being a good coach, of being a top coach. Even though your player loses the point, it's knowing that it was the right thing to do, and then it's the nods of encouragement from the bench. You're not allowed to coach during a game, but you can certainly nod, and the player knows then that you're doing that, he's doing the right thing. So it's not reinforcing when a point's won or lost, it's reinforcing when a point is played with the right tactics.
That's right. It's like your wife said, you can only do your best, and I think the wisdom, shot selection, one of the most important things out here. Just keep making wise decisions. I think it's the first point I've seen where Ma Long was so passive for the majority of the point. Just incredible. Ma Long really pressured to make everything there, and of course he does. Youngsik with some really excellent blocks. The last one was a little bit slow, and Ma Long takes advantage, but the other two, the trajectory was so low to the net quite fast. One thing I really like about Youngsik's game, that he's got a very whip-like wrist, very wristy backhand. And if he can use that a little bit more effectively, I think it'll at least be helpful.
I don't know the answer to what I'm about to say, Adam, but yesterday against Portugal, 90% of his serves are with the backhand against Apollonia. And yet today, I don't think I've seen him serve with his backhand.
I've seen a few, but it's definitely not such a high percentage. Smart placement this time instead of going to the safe length of the table, which he's missed the last several opportunities. A little bit softer ball into the backhand. Ma Long was anticipating the pattern he had created before, that Jung Youngsik would go cross court. Yeah, let's see if we get more of those backhand serves. Again, it's not always how much spin is on the ball, but how difficult it is to read, and of course the placement. Jung Youngsik I've seen have let after let after let because his serves are so precise and low to the net when they cross.
All on there, through it up with spin.
The placement of the shot right into the body. Jung Youngsik, I think it's a much more efficient stroke. His backhand is quite threatening, but his forehand just takes him a lot longer to get around. Actually, that last shot, his technique looked a lot like Jorgen Persson to me on the forehand, taking it in near the body. There it is, the risky backhand from over the table. As soon as he saw Ma Long turn the corner, there was the opportunity to exploit the open forehand, and he got it. And that's the wrist, the risky wrist. Still down 4 points right now. Looks like he's going to be staying with the forehand serve.
Backhand to backhand, only one winner.
Yeah, no question about it. Anything Jung Youngsik can do to challenge Ma Long at something other than his game, other than just straight up, you know, technique out here and straightforward battles. So he's going to have to try and be clever to shut down the game a little bit. Hits it behind him, 11 points to 5. Ma Long, even more dominant than game 1. We'll see what happens in game 3. Could be the last. Stay here. Back for game 3, Ma Long leading 2-0 over Jung Youngsik in yellow from Korea. Korea Republic, South Korea to many of you.
Heavy backspin on the long fast push from Ma Long. I have to say, Adam, that having watched Jung play yesterday, when, as I said earlier, I wasn't over-impressed. I think he's playing well today. And he's lost 11-7, 11-5. So it's pretty tough for him out there. I think he's just got a chances on.
That was the best forehand I've seen from Jung Youngsik yet. I mean, it was wide, it cut Ma Long deep off the table. He had to take it late. But still, when Ma Long hits that forehand, it's like you said, no matter where he is, even if he looks out of position, he manages to send a missile back to the table loaded with spin.
Timeout called by Lee Chul-seung. And for sure, this third game hasn't started well. Again, he's not played bad table tennis, but he's lost all 3 points.
Yeah, I think when you're measuring yourself against the most dominant player on the planet, it's really tough to appear like you're playing well. For me, the backhand is where it's at for Jung Youngsik. He just hasn't. It takes so much time for him to get the forehand, and Ma Long is a little bit like Neo from the Matrix. Everything appears to him to be in slow motion because he moves so fast. The backhand, Youngsik can take a little earlier off the bounce. The crossover point, Ma Long is so physically fit and agile that it's very difficult to catch him in the middle. Even if he takes it late with the forehand turning on the middle, it's still going to be a very difficult shot to counter. The line just finds like the absolute corner of the table to hit it to. Even with the wingspan of Youngsik, that's trouble.
He gambled a little bit there, Ma Long. He went round the backhand, but the ball came to him. And obviously with his forehand from the backhand side, it's particularly difficult to see where the ball's going. Well done, Jung. That was a fantastic forehand topspin down the line. He takes a chance here. Round he goes. And that bounced on the white line. Well played.
It's table tennis karma. Instant return. He says, I reciprocate. Do that to me, I'll give you one right back. It's rare that we see a point won that way. Played the middle. Youngsik turns and wins the point with the forehand. But again, he played the forehand into the middle, not allowing Ma Long a clear decision right away for which shot to play.
Worth a try from Jung. Counter topspin, take it early, try to go down the line. He won the first 2 points after the timeout.
I think one thing that China does better than any other national association is keep topspin on the ball while they take it off the bounce, whether it's a short stroke or a full stroke. Like right there in that example, Youngsik had a long push, had a decent opportunity to get a predictable loop, but trying to play it to the short side of the table without enough topspin, it's just too risky, it's too difficult. Not only the spin, but the real strength to carry the heavy rackets that the Chinese play with, loop after loop, and take it early off the bounce, keeping the spin on. This is like, for example, the women's game is so fast in the sense that they're not playing a lot of spin, but they're playing shorter strokes, punchy backhands a lot. This time a little bit of topspin left on it, but it's the backhand from Youngsik down the open side, forehand line for Ma Long.
This one there, straight down the line. He's caught him a few times there, in fairness.
As strong as the backhand is of Ma Long, he'd still prefer to get the step around when he can. His forehand is even stronger than his backhand.
And ironically, the best way to stop him running round and playing his forehand from the backhand is to get out wide to his forehand early in a rally. But then you think, I'm playing to the fastest forehand topspin in the world. So the tactics, I think, have to be brave. But I would suggest you have to get out there, then get down his backhand, force him to play backhands. But he's so strong with his backhand as well. It's, as you say, best player on the planet. It's not going to be easy.
I think brave is the perfect word. It's tough to go into something knowing that your percentages are low or that you're going to face something you don't want to have to. But again, it might be the lesser of two evils, right? The better option might not be a good option. It's just better than the other options.
We keep saying it, but he's the master at backhand to backhand. I'm sure he will lose a point at some stage, but not many.
You know, and this is a tournament right here. You're not going to have any China versus China matches, so any match that a Chinese player loses, they're losing to a foreigner, and that's punishable when you're on the Chinese national team. I think for Jung, this is really a tournament that's, if he loses a match, it could cost him his spot on the Olympic team. Beautiful counter there, taking it early off the bounce. Nice sound as he just comes over and keeps some spin on it. This is a closer game than it feels. I mean, we're sitting here in awe, just praising Ma Long and how amazing he is, which is understandable. But look at the score. It's a one-point game. Youngsik against serve is only down 1 point. Smart placement. It was tough to tell where he was going to go. He fanned up and out a little bit instead of covering the ball the way he usually would to play it wider to the backhand. He's a step behind the table, Youngsik, but still showing that he's got some power. Ma Long just a little bit passive. Those blocks still relatively aggressive, but it's not like he's countering them the way he often does.
Backhand serve, here we go. The return from Marlon, good touch, but he actually accelerated his racket, put a fair bit of backspin on the ball. Jung stepped in, didn't lift the backspin. Point to Marlon. Josie up there, smile on his face, he's enjoying this. Outstanding table tennis here. And Jung still in this third game.
Again, the line after all those shots. Marlon finally just says enough of this. I don't want this ball coming back and hits it wide. The thing is, he's always ready for the next one. If this ball comes back, he's starting to move out to the forehand just in case.
The only thing you can say here is, would he have been better going out wide to the forehand? But when rockets are coming at you, it's survival that's on your mind. I've just got to get them back. To actually think about punching one down the line, it's tough.
Wow, right on the middle, and still Marlon gets it back to the counter. And I think mentally, what you said, yes, it is tough. But if someone's playing in the mentality, you know, it's very tough to break that mentality. I just have to get it on the table first. I think they have to set their hopes high and be very intentional about not only do I have to get it back, but I have to get it back to a very specific place and low. Look at that. Little backhand punching chop there. Don't see that too often from Marlon.
That's a good flick down the line. He flicked it sort of with an open racket, so the ball's going very flat. No spin on the ball. Made it a bit more awkward for Marlon. Gives Jung a little bit of a lifeline here. He's got his two serves to come. Can he take the 2 points?
Back edge of the table. Tough one to return, Don. Even if that hits the top of the table, I mean, he's keeping it very deep on the table. This is how fast Long serves, and even slow-mo, you could see how fast that was.
Again, it's one of those, even if it had just missed, you'd have been nodding your head as the coach because he was going for a positive serve. The timeout called by Liu Guliang.
I think it's quite flattering for anybody to have a timeout called when they're playing against Ma Long by the Chinese side.
It's also interesting, Liu Guliang often calls timeout when the Chinese players are serving, because obviously you have control over the serve, so I'm sure they talk a little bit about what serve to do. Of course here, Marlon is returning the service, so the return is dependent upon the service, so it's an even more of a compliment, really. I would say 4 times out of 5, Liu Guliang calls timeout when China have the service, so you're quite right, what a compliment for Jung.
Compliments aside, in the end, Jung Youngsik won't be happy unless he can really win this match. He's got a long way to go. He's got a chance here to take the 3rd game. Just down 1 point now. Losing by a little, I mean, in the long run, you can tell your friends, you can be happy that you tried your best or played your best, but no one remembers 2nd place.
Correct. And of course, it will be Marlon who has his serves at the business end of this 3rd game as well.
I was actually trying to think of 2nd place, the most memorable 2nd place, and I thought of Fang Bo last year at the World Championships because it was such a huge upset for him to be there, beating Xu Xin and Zhang Jike on the way. Oh, burned, completely burned. Jung Youngsik anticipating it deep to the backhand, turns the corner, and Ma Long says, not so fast, wise guy. Right there down the line. And now it's 2 match points for Ma Long out of the timeout. And now he's got his serves. You might imagine that in that timeout, they even discuss a little bit more than just the next point, but when it is your serve, because it will be your serve. And if it's 9-9, Ma Long's got the last 2. Either way, he's got the last 2 serve combination in this game. I don't know if you saw How to Handle Your Opponent, the video on the official ITTF Facebook page where Ma Long aces somebody down the line. It's a pretty tight game right here. I wouldn't expect to see it. And that's it, a big win. You can see how much it means to Ma Long. He releases the energy in a respectful high-five handshake. But it's world rank number 1, the Dragon, the Dictator, Ma Long will put the second point on the board for China. And I will tell you, the next match is one you don't want to miss. It's a feud. It's the most dramatic two-person fight that'll be coming up. It's Jung Jin versus Jung Jike. Third match coming up just after this.